You're probably a little bit confused by the title as to like, why am I on about another country in this video, but it's not anything like that. This is actually more of a key event that's happened in my life, and I felt like I really wanted to talk about it at some point. I've been wanting to make a video like this for a while, like where I talk about something a bit more in my life, like a story / event that happened in it, and that's kind of what I'm going to try and do here. And this is going to be a real contrast to the tip video I put out yesterday, if any of you are interested in wanting to know some YouTube tips from a guy who's got 230 subscribers. I mean, I think something I can tell you about that tip series, the reason I made it is because it helps people learn from my mistakes, but that's kind of the reason I'm doing this tip series, and hopefully people will see it and find it helpful. But in that video I did give some YouTube tips. I say there are 3 phrases you'd never say. One of them being, I don't know why I'm making this video, and I don't know why I'm making this video. I actually don't know what I want to talk about. I don't know what points I want to make about this trip. I don't really know what my aim of this video is to do, other than kind of share a story and hopefully kind of give you guys a lesson learned. I don't really know, maybe, yeah. Okay, right, let's just start out. So, this is back in 2016, this trip happened. I was 15 at the time, and I was in year 10. This was a school trip that went down. It was year 10s and 11s on this school trip that happened. And me going on this trip happened basically by complete luck. I mean, I did accept the letter to take home, but it's like, if I didn't get up and go and get a letter and show interest in going on the trip, I probably wouldn't have ended up on the trip. And this trip is one of the best trips of my life so far, I would say, just in terms of friendship, because it's a trip where I felt like I made some great friends on the trip. And I'll be honest with you, in year 10, I didn't have that many friends. Like, I had a lot of people who knew me, but I didn't really have people who I hung out with a lot. I was very much in my own bubble, in my own world, listen to my music all the time, and just sort of be that kid in the back of class who wouldn't really talk or say much. I think there are reasons for that, which I know why, but I don't feel comfortable talking about it on video at the moment, and maybe one day I will. But yeah, that's a different story for another day. Main point here I'm trying to make is, didn't have many friends before this trip. Now, on the build up to the trip, you get like all these meetings, like talking about things that are going to happen when you're on the trip, what you need for the trip, stuff like that. And when I went into these meetings, I knew no one, but there was one guy who, for some reason, I think he recognized me because he was in the year above, and I think a lot of the year above people knew who I was, sort of, and knew of me, and they kind of just saw me as, I don't know. They'll always be like, what's going on, Hagrid? Because that was my nickname at school. Because if you don't know, I'm 18 and I've got this gigantic beard. But anyway, going into these meetings, this guy, he kind of invited me over to sort of like talk to him and whatnot, and just like, in more of a matey way, not like a, come over talk to me, let's have a conversation. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. He wasn't like that. He was kind of like, football-y dude, I don't know. Like, he was someone who everyone knew pretty much in his year at the very least, and talked to quite a lot. That he was one of those people. And weirdly, me and him did get on really well. And after the meetings for the trip, like, me and him didn't talk too much, but it was more on the way to the destination where I kind of like got talking to him a bit more and got more involved in this group of people who he was hanging out with, I guess. And this trip was pretty much one of the best trips I had ever, like, as I've already said, in terms of friendship, because it was me, someone who barely had any friends before, joined this group of people who kind of, I don't want to make it sound cheesy or anything, and it was how it was described at the time with all of us. It was like almost a family, like not like my nuclear family or whatever, but like a family of friends in a way. And I think I was really hoping for that sort of thing to last, and unfortunately it didn't. And there are many different reasons for it. I think there were a lot of people who, like, one of them didn't really like me, I didn't really get on with them very well, and there was a lot of like teenage drama, shit that really doesn't matter. But I try to ignore that stuff as much as possible and just reminisce on the good times of it, like going bowling and like us pissing around there, having like the final night where we're all just in the same room, which is a room for like 3 people, and we all just like pissed around. We shoved food down one of the guys who fell asleep, that sort of thing. As my mate Jake likes to remind me every time I see him, I threw a toffee at him and the toffee dented and it hit him right on the nose. Luckily it was alright, but I sort of like talked to him afterwards about it, said sorry, and like that was weirdly, that was sort of the point where me and him became better friends after that, I would say. Which is really weird to say. I was a dick and threw something at him, which made me a better friend with him. And the toffee did hit him hard. You heard it thud when it hit him. And really, this whole trip to Poland was just a really nice bonding thing for all of us to get to know each other, and it really did create this circle of about 6 or 7, maybe 8 people who all got to know each other really well and kind of feel like really good friends. And that even carried on all the way, I'll probably say, until July of that summer. As one of the person's houses we went to and like had I think it was 2 parties overall there, and I think we went to one of the other guys' houses for an evening, well, at least I did. The others had a sleepover and I wasn't allowed to stay over because my mum wouldn't let me, but that's whatever. But it was like a lot of these situations that made us like really grow as a group, but then things just kind of fell apart. And that's where things get interesting, because there was a bit of I think there was some tension in the group. Some of the people didn't like other people in the group. So for example, me and this other girl, we didn't really get on that well, and that sort of caused a bit of tension in the group there. That is what it is. But probably the worst part is this guy who I had kind of become, like, I'd probably say best friends with. He was getting very creepy. Because one of the girls who was a part of the group, him and her basically kind of started having a thing in Poland, and they both had partners who they were basically cheating on, and it's like teenage drama, as it always is. And it was that thing, once they got back, it was sort of like the girl sort of promised to be with him, but then sort of ran into her actual boyfriend. They sort of talked about things, and they kind of decided they wanted to stay together, and then the guy had broken up with his girlfriend, and then it sort of turned into this fucking fuck fest of a mess. But I think she wanted to stay friends with the guy, and the guy was becoming very obsessive with him. The guy who was like my best friend, and like I was very aware of it, as well as everyone else in this group. And it even got to the point where it was like none of us really wanted him to be around us, to a point it was just like there was like one evening where we all went round for like another party thing and sleepover sort of thing, and he was there only for the evening, but all the time he was just sort of like trying to flirt with the girl who he had cheated with. But me and this other girl in the group, I would definitely say was like one of my best mates. I haven't talked to her in ages though, but me and her, we were definitely best mates, but I wouldn't ever say like we had any interest in each other. It was just like a genuine friend thing. Like she felt like a sister to me in a way, and like someone who I'd want to look out for. And it was her and the creepy guy who is no longer my best mate, kind of because of those reasons, as well as one more. When he started getting creepy, I think he sort of automatically got kind of pushed to the side and like thrown out the group in a way, just like we all kind of like awkwardly moved away from him because we didn't really want that much part of him. And at this point I wasn't very confident. Like it was in a way sort of losing a friend in a way, but it was like I would rather not have him as a friend than have him as a friend, because he was just being very much of a douche and just being creepy, and it's just like I don't want anyone who's like that in my life. And at that point in time, I'd probably I would definitely say I didn't have that much confidence. I was still trying to talk to people, and I would probably say I did have quite a bit of anxiety talking to people, but not to the extent I wouldn't say anything. But it was just like me and my confidence weren't at its best then, so it was like trying to sort of remain in the group and keeping everyone together was very hard for me. So it's like I think eventually in the end it was just like people fell out with each other, and those who didn't, but the group just eventually just faded. It's really weird to think about how a group of people who were like that tight, it's like I think being in Poland, it was almost like another world, because it was like all these people, all of us were forced together, people who probably wouldn't actually be together like in an ordinary situation at school. We're grouped together and then we're made to become friends in a way, whereas when we're brought back to where we were, it's almost we're like other people were remembering that other group of friends who they were hanging out with, and it kind of fades off like that. So then for me, I just kind of like went back to how I was, a bit more by myself, just in my own bubble again. So guess if there's one thing I wanted, I still don't know what the point of this video is. I just want to make it just, one, it's a daily upload, keeps that going, but also it's just like something that happened in my life that generally was like a key event in my life, I would call it. It's like one of the key events that happen in life, and I'm sure a lot of you will have that key moment in life that, not that's not what I'm saying is the key moment. I'm saying it's a key moment in my life, and I'm sure a lot of you do have that one key moment that you remember and you appreciate and you enjoy. And that's just one of them for me, even though it ended up not being the best thing, like in the end and how things were. And I guess if there's one thing I want you to take away from this is, like, from my experience, just if you're at secondary school at the moment and you're in like year 7 to 10, even 11, just talk to people, and like don't be afraid of talking to people, because you may make some good friends who you may keep for life. And don't ever be scared of approaching people or having people approach you, and don't do what I did and live in your own bubble and thinking you're fine by yourself, because you're not. You generally, once you get a load of friends in your life who you lose, you realise how important friends are. So yeah, the one thing I want to say in this video is appreciate your friends and try and go out your way to make some friends. Also, the creepy guy who was my best mate, I'm basically now with his ex-girlfriend. That's a story for another day. See you later.